Hey everyone! In today's video, we're going to be learning how to use comments in coding. We're going to learn how exactly these comments are written in a variety of different languages, and also as to the purpose of using comments when coding. So comments are blocks of text in your code which are written in natural language. These blocks of text are ignored by the compiler or the interpreter, which allows for a variety of uses. One of these uses is that it allows your code to be more readable, either for yourself if you want to look back on large chunks of code, or for other people if you decide to share your code. Now, since comments are written in natural language, these can be used to generate documentation for ease of use for production in the future. And with programs we have built here at juniorit.ai, we can now use comments to direct AI to write or fix your code for you, allowing you to more efficiently learn how to code. Alright, so first we'll look at the notation for comments in Dart. So Dart has two types of comments, either a single line comment or a multi-line comment. So for a single line comment, you simply need to put 2 slashes at the beginning of the line where the comment sits, and the comment will take up the entirety of this line. It can either be in a line by itself or after a line of code as seen here. For a multi-line comment, the comment is kind of wrapped between a slash and an asterisk. So as we can see here, at the beginning we have slash and then asterisk, and then at the end we have asterisk and then slash. So this is used similarly to a single line comment, where it can either be in a chunk by itself or after a line of code like this. Another use for a multi-line comment is that it can be inside a piece of code, as it does not affect the rest of the line, unlike a single line comment. So this code right here, this piece of code right here will still be counted as code. Now, when comparing comments in Dart to other languages, it's basically the exact same, where with JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Kotlin, Swift, and Go language, it is the exact same. And with PHP, we still have the slash and asterisk notation for comments, but we also have an added notation of a hashtag. Now with C, C++, and Objective-C, it is the same as Dart, JavaScript, etc., where we have slashes and asterisks, but it is important to note that you shouldn't use a hashtag for a comment like PHP, since hashtags are actually another symbol for a preprocessor directive, not a comment. So even though with the majority of languages, comments have the same notation of using slashes and asterisks and the occasional hashtag, there are some exceptions, as is the case with Python. So with Python, like PHP, you use a hashtag for a single line comment. This acts the exact same as single line comments above, where they occupy their own line and can also be written after a line of code. Multi-line comments in Python are either written using triple single quotes as seen here or triple double quotes as seen here. So these act similarly to multi-line comments above, where you just wrap your comment like this. But the thing with multi-line comments in Python is that, as you can see here, it doesn't look the same as a normal comment. Whereas a normal comment is usually grayed out, this still has a yellow color. This is because multi-line comments are actually strings, which when used independently outside of a line of code like here, just act as comments by themselves. So these are completely ignored by interpreters or compilers, but for example, if we just copied this straight into this print function right here, and we ran that, you can see that it still outputs normally like a normal string, but when used by itself, it just acts as a comment. So now we'll be looking at how we can use comments to ask AI to write code for us without having prior knowledge of the coding language you're using. So we'll be starting off with Dart, and as you can see here, we have written in comments an instruction in pure natural language. We don't need any prior coding knowledge. So we're asking AI to write a block of code that prints numbers from m to n, with an example where m equals 1000 and n equals 1010. So if we look down here, let's click complete for me to complete the code, and you can see AI has written a block of code, and now we run it just to make sure it works. And it doesn't matter if you understand it or not yet, we'll get to explaining that later, but as you can see, it does output numbers from 1000 to 1010. So now we can try this with multiple other languages. For example, let's go with Python. So now we have the exact same prompt commented in Python with a hashtag instead of 2 slashes, and we can do the same thing, complete for me. And you can see it is different from Dart, but if we run, it has the exact same output. So with this method of using comments, we can more easily learn multiple languages at the same time, since we only need to know how to direct AI to write code for us in natural language using comments. So here are previously generated responses using the exact same instructions in comments using AI. So as you can see from before, we have Dart, and then JavaScript, PHP, Python as we saw before, Java, Kotlin, Objective-C, Swift, C/C++, and Go language. Alright, so now we'll look at how exactly we can use comments to make our code more readable and easier to understand overall. So using our previous example of writing integers from integer m to integer n, the AI has already given us an example of integers 1000 to 1010. And to make sure that this code works with integers other than these two, we can change these numbers by first commenting out these 2 lines of code here and putting in a new line of code with integers 2000 to 2010. So let's run this. And we can see it does the exact same thing, listing out the integers so that we can be sure this code works for all integers. And now we'll go on to actually explaining the code. So down here we can see for integer I equals m, m being your starting integer, and also I has to be less than or equal to n, which makes sure that it stops at n and doesn't keep going. And then we have I++. This would be the kind of most difficult part of the code, where I is assigned the value of I plus 1. So to make it easier to remember next time or when looking back on your code, you can actually comment in this example. You can actually comment in this explanation, just like this, and it makes it easier to look back on. And now we have print I. So this print function is actually a loop. So right here we can comment in, so right there we can comment in start print loop, and after this we can comment in end print loop. Alright, so now let's just run this one last time, where instead of using our new values, we can comment this out like that, and we can uncomment this part and run it again. And you can see it works exactly as planned. However, this time we have these added comments which just help make your code easier to understand. And this is just how you use comments normally in code, improving readability of your code. So in today's video, we have successfully learnt how to write and use comments in Dart, JavaScript, TypeScript, PHP, Java, Kotlin, C, C++, Objective-C, Swift, and Go language. Now, although it seems like we've learnt a lot today, it's actually very simple, since these comments, the notation for using these comments is basically the same for every single language. Now, this actually makes it a lot easier to learn multiple languages at once, which may seem like a daunting task at first, but with the help of juniorit.ai, instead of needing to actually learn the coding first, we can now learn multiple languages, only needing to know how to use comments for all of these languages and natural language without any prior coding knowledge whatsoever, as we can ask AI to write and fix code for us, which we can then go back and learn from. So that's it for today's video. We will see you in the next one.